Okay, here's one that's been a long time coming. I've had a lot of requests to do this over the years, and believe it or not, it's been nearly 10 years since I started doing these Reno style videos. And this is probably one of the most requested tunes I've had to teach. It's probably one of Don's most popular tunes, and I think the reason why it's so popular is that it's a little easier for Scruggs style players to play. It's a little more adaptable to Scruggs style. You don't have to be a Reno style expert to play it. So I think that has a lot to do with its being, catching on and being so popular with so many people. Of course, you can put as much Reno style technique as you want to in it, but Don's original version was pretty straightforward. He didn't have any single string or brush work or anything like that in there. So, like I said, I think that makes it a little more accessible to non-Reno style players. A lot of Don's tunes are Reno style specific, meaning you have to be very good at Reno style techniques to play the tunes themselves. Like the tune is actually built around the techniques. Like Reno Ride has a lot of brush work in it. That's part of the song itself. And things like Follow the Leader, you have to be very good at single string. So, like I said, that's one of the reasons why this tune is so popular. And, of course, it's just a good tune. So, a lot of people have done this. One of the reasons why I haven't done it in the past 10 years that I've been doing these videos is that there's a lot of people on YouTube that already teach this song. And a lot of people already know this song. They pick it already. And, in fact, Don Reno plays this tune. He teaches this tune on his instruction video, which I highly recommend that you pick up. But I thought that maybe I could show you some things that maybe you hadn't noticed before, or some things that Don did live that some people don't teach on YouTube. And I'm also going to show you a twin banjo or a harmony break that you can take. If you have another banjo player with you and get them to play the lead, you can play this harmony break I'm going to show you. So let's get into this thing here. I'm going to kind of move through the basic tune itself fairly quickly, because I think a lot of people already know this tune. And if you don't, like I said, Don Wayne's video teaches this in detail, the basic break and some of the single string stuff. So I'll just go over the first part, or the main thing, fairly quickly, because I think most people already are familiar with it. But anyway, let's get started here. We're just going to start up here. We're going to hammer on the 2nd fret. Actually, I'm going to hit the G string first. Like that. Alright. Now, I'm doing this partial C that Don does a lot. He's not doing a full C chord. He's leaving your 1st string open. So you do your C chord, but you leave the 1st string open. Alright, so... Alright, I'm doing a partial D chord there. I'm doing the 4th fret on the 4th string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and the rest of it open. 2nd and 1st open. Okay. Now, a lot of times, sometimes I think on the original, Don did a hitting that second string open. Now here's one of the things that a lot of people kind of look over in Don's playing that he would do. Sometimes he would actually fret the 4th fret on the 3rd string instead of hitting the 2nd string open. So what he would do was, you come out of the C, he would actually hit. It's a slight difference if you listen to him. He does that some on his later versions and definitely on his live versions. He doesn't hit the B string open, but he does sometimes he don't. But this is a little thing in there he does. It's a little different sound. All right, that's the B string open. And this is without the B string open. Okay. Pretty much simple banjo playing there. It's not too difficult. So just okay. Alright, on that second C chord, we're going to go into a D chord. Pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on just the basic break that most people probably already know. Well, before we get into the walk down part, let me show you a few variations that Don would do. This is some of the things that I don't think a lot of the others on YouTube have taught. Is one of the breaks he does, he slides up to your partial G. He's using your D-shaped G and leaving the 1st string open. He loves to do that. All right, so example. All right, so instead of going, he slides up to that partial G. What he's doing is he's hitting that D note on your 7th fret on your 3rd string, same as your 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So the 7th fret on your 3rd string, I'm holding down the 7th or the 8th fret on the 2nd string. So it's that partial G chord. I'm leaving off that, if you can see that there. There's your G chord. So leave your G, your 1st string open. So, all right. And a lot of times he would move closer to the neck. What he's trying to do, he's using your 1st string as a drone type sound there. Alright, so okay, see, the melody is the same, but it's got a different sound to it. And every once in a while he would do that. Usually he would start out with the, and then the second break. Alright, so slide up and do that. I'm doing a little hammer on the 4th fret. Alright. So, not the 4th fret, the 4th string. I'm hammering on from the 8th fret to the 9th fret there. So I'm just doing that G chord basically. Open G string. You can slide back if you wanted to. Like that, or you can do the hammer on. Okay. And sometimes he would go into this C 7th chord that he does quite a bit. He does this in Charlotte Breakdown a lot. And what he's doing is he's grabbing the your 7th note, 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and your 3rd fret on the 2nd string. Alright, so alright. And I don't know exactly I have to be in the moment to do it, but you're just basically doing a forward roll. You can either keep it on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, or throw the 5th in if you want to. that's a good little stark sounding, I would guess you would say. That's a cool F7th chord, or not F7, C7th chord. So like I said, the D there's same as we did in the beginning, but those little embellishments there. Alright, so that's the basic first part of the tune before we get into the walk down. But those little things there, like I said, that's little things that he would add in there that you might want to try out. So let's get to the walk down. All right, so the famous walk down here, what you're going to do, and this is what I always refer to as the Dixie Breakdown roll. And it's a little tricky, actually, to do. It's hard for a lot of people to learn this roll, but what it is just a forward roll, 1, 2, 3, and then back with the first. So it's just a forward roll, and then your first finger, index finger, on the second. All right, so that's the roll. So you may want to practice that roll. Like I said, it can be kind of difficult to some people. It is to me, so it's tough. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at your 12th fret, start in a G position, and I usually, it depends on how big your fingers are. I've got skinny fingers, so I can mash all 3 of these strings down with one finger, well, one finger on each string rather. So I've got my pinky on the first string, my ring finger on the second, and my middle on the third. All right. Some people like to lay their finger flat, and I think that's the way Don did. I think Don laid his finger flat to start it with, and then he changed positions. But I like using this because I can easily just move my finger back to get to this G7th that we're going to end up on. So we're going to do that Dixie Breakdown roll, 1, 2, 3, and back with the index. Just a G chord on your 12th fret. Then you're going to do a G7th. You're going to back that third string up to the 10th fret. There's your G7th barred chord, basically. Keep your fingers on the first and second strings on the 12th fret. Now, like I said, you could do it like that if you wanted to. Okay? It's hard for me to do that, but I'd rather just do it individual fingers here. Alright? Whatever's comfortable to you. Alright, so we're going to a barred G, barred G7th, to a C chord, and that's basically just your F-shaped C. So, okay, and then we're going to end up on your D-shaped G. Same roll, keep that Dixie Breakdown roll going. All right, so we're walking, basically what we're doing is we're walking from one G chord, the barred position G, to your D position G. So that's all we're doing. Okay. You want to hear that melody line. Alright, so now we're going to go to C, and we're going to do the same thing, same concept here. We're just going to do a barred C, C7, F, C. We're going to go back to your G. Same thing. Same thing we did in the beginning. And then we're going to go to a D, and we're going to do the same positions, just, you know, it's through the D chord. So we're walking from your barred D to your regular D position. Alright. Then we're going to go back to G again. C chord, we're going to end up with the same D that we did during the first part. Alright, so this is how it goes. G, C, G, D, G, C, up to your D. Alright. And like I said, that roll is tricky. It's really hard for some people to do. Like I said, it's hard for me to do. So just practice that. Forward roll. But you come back after the forward roll and hit that second string with your index. Like that. Alright? Okay, so most of you probably already know that that chord progression and the roll. Like I said, it's a very popular tune, but I want to show you one little thing here that Don does in later versions, not the original, but later versions, and especially live he started doing this. And most people don't even pick up on it, but he's definitely doing it, and it's a neat little thing. It actually adds just a little something extra to it, and what he does is he's adding a pull-off in this walk down, so it'll sound like this. It's actually a hammer-on pull-off. Sloppy, but you get the idea. What I'm doing is I'm going. All right. So what he's doing is when you get to the C chord in the chord progression here, he's hammering on. So you got your C position, your F position C. But he's hammering on. He's hammering on that 10th fret on the 3rd string. So he's just hammering on that right there. And we're going to do that when we get to the other F position chords during the walkthrough. The G and the C and the D, you're going to do that little hammer on. So it's tricky to do, to get it timed out right. It's just a little something extra that he added in there. If you listen to him play it live, he usually always adds that in there. So that's a nice little thing, a little neat little thing that I don't think a lot of people pick up on, but it's in there. Oh yeah, and he hammers on here. I almost forgot that. So sorry, yeah, I almost forgot that. So what he's doing is he's hammering on that F shape that I just did. All right, so he's hammering on the D position as well. When he gets to the D, so the G, you start here, hammer on, get to the D position, G, you're hammering on that 9th fret on the 3rd string. So, whoops. That makes sense. Yeah, I think I left that out when I was showing you the first time. It doesn't sound the same when you play it slow. If you're rolling through it pretty fast, it adds a neat little thing to it. It's tricky to do. So I think he only does it on the G right there. So anyway, that's a little something extra you can add in there on that walk down part. What I did on the end there, I just happened to think about that. I'll show you that too. Don would do that too on the D chord. He does that a lot in a lot of tunes, but what I'm doing is I'm walking from the bar D, and then your D7 like you normally do, and then we're going to do a brush, and we're going to walk down from this partial G position, the 4th fret on your 3rd string, and this 3rd fret on your 2nd string. We've done this a lot in other videos. Don loves to all that stuff like that. But what we're doing here is we're going to use that partial G to walk down to a D7th here. So, alright, and I'm brushing the strings, 3rd and 2nd strings, holding that G, partial G position, down to your D7th, which is the same position. Okay? So you can add that in too. Yeah. All right. So there's some little things you can add in there. I'll go over the single string stuff. I think Don Wayne covered that in his video, but I'll run through that a little bit in case you haven't seen his video. But basically what Don does, he'll take a break with his typical single string breaks or licks that he does in a lot of other tunes. We're going to run down through your D chord, your D position, and I've explained these single string licks a lot in other videos, so if I go too fast in here, look up a couple of other videos that I teach these in. I go into them in depth in a lot of other ones. So, but basically what Don does is he's running through your D position, G. All right. And then we're going to go into a C chord. All right, I'm going to do that again. And what he's doing is he's running through this F-shaped C. All right, now I've taught this lick before, like I said, in other tunes, but I'll play it slow. Like I said, I'm not going to linger on it too much because I've done it, I don't know how many times, probably 4 or 5 different videos. And, but I'll play it slow so maybe you can pick it up. And then that same G run. And then you can do the same lick in your D, which I've done this lick in a lot of tunes too. Same one I did in C. So the D would go. All right, we're just walking down to a 7th note on the 10th fret on your 4th string, so. None of this is, out of the way here. It's right in your F shape. All right, and sometimes when he would go to D, he would do his typical little run down the neck. All right, like I said, I've taught that in a lot of videos too. All right, so I'll just play that pretty slow for you. I won't go into depth on it, but okay, what I'm doing there is I'm walking from your F-shaped D to your barred 7th D. So I'm running from a D shape to a D shape, basically. So that's a little variation you can do on the D chord. So let's try that again from the G. Whoops. mixed up there. All right. Or you could do just like you did in the C chord. You go right back to your G. He does all kinds of stuff, you know, like that. What I did there, like I said, this is just going to be some of the things I've heard him do over the years. It's nothing specific or a specific album that I've heard him do it on. I think the Don Reno story, the one he did for CMH, I think he put a lot of this stuff in there, the single string stuff anyway. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to lock yourself in. I always say this, you don't have to do exactly what I'm showing you here or exactly the way Reno did it. Once you learn these licks and learn how to do them in different chord positions and different keys, you can add these licks to any tune just about. And so you don't have to lock yourself in just to the way I did it or the way Don did it. But like I said, just do whatever you want to do. So that would be a typical, you know, single string break that Don would do during the bridge of the tune. And he usually, like I said, he would keep the first part of it, the basic break, with those little embellishments once in a while. A little sloppy, but you get the idea. And like I said, do those single string breaks. Just do some variations on them if you want to. You can do anything in that bridge. I mean, you can add any of the Reno stuff. Or the tumble lick. I think I've taught that in a bunch of videos too. Something like that. All right. Okay, let me get into this twin banjo break that I worked up, and this is going to be pretty close to the way Don Reno did it with Don Wayne. They used to do this quite a bit in the late 70s and early 80s, and Don Wayne would typically play the lead, and Don Reno would play the harmony to it, or the twin, or whatever you want to call it. And this is going to be pretty similar. I did change the bridge a little bit, the walk down part, to be a little more exact, to match the walk down, but for the most part this is pretty close to the way he did it. And I can't really explain Don Reno's tenor or twin banjo style. I think I've heard him say that it helps to be a tenor singer. You can kind of hear it, you kind of have to feel it. I don't know how to explain playing twin, but I've sang a lot of tenor, and I agree with him. I think for some reason you can just hear the notes, what you're supposed to do. But anyway, his twin styling is not an exact thing. It's not like playing melodic style where you're playing exactly right and exactly the right notes. You know, it's a little bit of I don't know what you want to call it. It's just a feel type thing that he does. Like I said, it's not an exact twin most of the time. But anyway, I'll show it to you here what I've worked up, and you know, the lead will start out. What we're going to do, we're going to come in at right there when he hammers on. All right, that's where we're going to come in at. And what we're going to do is we're going to hammer on the 8th fret on the 2nd string from the 7th to the 8th. All right, leave that first string open. You can hold that down if you wanted to. All right, but typically Don would leave that first string open. Like I said, he does that a lot. He likes to use that the first string as a drone. So what we'll do is when you come in, the lead comes in, we're going to go so that would be a harmony to... Alright, and he does that a lot in a lot of the tunes where he plays harmony to something, like, let's see, Bury Me Beneath the Willow, he does that a lot. See what I mean? Stuff like that. So that little lick there would be a harmony to... if that makes sense. Like I said, it's not an exact tenor to a lead, but it's got those notes in there. It's kind of similar, like if you were singing tenor to somebody. That's just kind of the way you feel it. But anyway, all right. I'm coming right back to this F-shaped G, that partial G that we did earlier. Your first string's still open. Grabbing that 5th fret on the 3rd string back to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and we're going to hammer on to the 4th. So, all right. Then we're going to go into C chord, and we're going to do this partial C, leave the 1st string open, and we're going to hold down the 5th fret onto the 3rd and 2nd strings. We're just going to roll forward. Alright. That would be your tenor to... Alright, like I said, it's not an exact tenor, but that's what he does. And then... Alright, that would be your tenor to... So you would go... Alright, you hear that? So they kind of hear that's the twin to it. Alright, so you would go after the C back to that G. Alright, do that again, and then we're going to go to your D, and we're going to do that same partial D that we've done before. 1st string still open. Alright, that's your harmony to... So, like I said, it's not exact. And you could also go, if you wanted to, go to that D7th, leave your 1st string open. But typically I'll do, or I'll hammer on from the 6th fret to the 7th fret on the 3rd string. Alright, and he does that a lot in different tunes. He uses that D in replace of... It makes more of a true D chord when you do that up here than down here. Okay, so then we're going to go right into your G again. Alright, so we went back to the C again, and then we're going to, that partial C, we're going to walk that up, fret, 1 fret to the 7th fret, back to that D, and then we're going to roll forward, and we're going to pull off on the 5th fret, holding down the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. It's kind of hard to do. Alright, and what that is a harmony to... Alright, you can kind of hear that. So, alright, like I said, it's not an exact tenor, but that's usually what he does a lot of times. And so, let me play that whole harmony break for you. than that. All right, so let's go into the walk down. All right, so at this point, you know, we've already covered the typical walk down. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to your F-shaped G, and we're going to do the same roll. We're going to back that up to your F chord, and then we're going to do a E minor to a G7. So we're going to go. All right, now that's the harmony to. Okay. All right, so your F-shaped G, your F-shaped F, E minor to be it's like an A minor shape, but it's or F minor shape, sorry, but it's an E minor. So then your bar G7th. Okay, so all right, and then we're going to repeat that just like you would the regular lead during the walk down. So you go to your C, B flat, to B flat, yeah, C, B flat, A minor, and then your C7. So, all right, same positions we did up here. Then repeat it. All right, when you hit that G7th this time, you go to your D right there. Your F-shaped G, or F-shaped D. Same positions. C chord, B minor, or it's an F shape, F minor shape, but it's a B minor. So C, starting your D, D chord, C, B minor, D7th. All right, so start back to your G. To your C, and then we're going to go right into that harmony D chord that we did before. Let's see. All right, I think that's how he ends it, but all right. So let me play that whole harmony walk down. Start up here. Okay. So let's get into this ending that Don does, and he starts it by doing his typical little shave and a haircut type ending that he uses on a bunch of tunes. I think I've covered this in a couple of other videos in a little more detail. There's a couple of versions of this that he does where he pauses. It's a little different. It's just a variation of the same thing there, but this one here I'm going to show you is just a forward roll all the way through. So, all right. So what I'm doing is I'm rolling forward. I'm holding down this partial G chord on your first and second strings, 8th fret on the second string, 9th fret on the first. But I'm going to hold that down, and then I'm going to grab this 11th fret on your second string, and I'm going to roll forward on your 5th, 2nd, and 1st. All right. Then I'm going to come back to the 5th, hit the 8th fret on your second string I've already got down, and I'm going to take my finger off the first string at this point, and then I'm going to hit your first string open. Alright, so it's 2 forward rolls. Alright. And then I'm gonna grab this 9th fret on your 3rd string and I'm gonna roll forward on that. Take your fingers off the 8th fret on your 2nd string and we're gonna roll forward. 2nd and 1st strings open. Alright, so it sounds like this. All forward. Alright, and then we're going to slide in to your 9th fret on your 4th string from your 8th, rolling on your 4th, 2nd, and 1st. And then your G string open. Okay, so the whole thing sounds like this. Alright. It'll take a little practice to get that, but that's pretty unique to Don. He does that on a lot of tunes. So we started with that. And we're going to start back with the walk down. He goes on your G, your 12th fret on the G chord. Same thing, 7th, your G7th that we did earlier. To your C. Now this is where it changes. So we're going to go. Then we're going to do a C minor. Alright? And then we're going to do a D. So, do that D. You're holding down your 7th fret across the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. Still doing the Dixie Breakdown rule. And then we're going to grab this 9th fret on your 3rd string. And then the 7th fret, you're already holding that down, so you're holding that, you're going to hit that 7th fret on your 2nd string after that 9th fret on your 3rd. And then we're going to grab that, go back to your G chord here, so we're going to grab this 9th, or the 8th fret on your 2nd string. So we're back in G at this point. It sounds like this. Back to your G. So we're hitting that 8th fret on your 2nd string. We're just going to walk right up your D-shaped G. Like that. So alright. So that's a pretty neat little ending. Well, that was Dixie Breakdown, and hopefully I gave you a few new ideas to add to your arsenal next time you're out picking on this tune. And maybe you can play twin banjos with somebody. If you've got a banjo buddy that can play the lead, you can play along with them and play the twin part. I know I enjoy playing it with Don Wayne whenever we get together. But as always, you know, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to help as best I can. And if you have any requests for certain tunes or breaks, always feel free to contact me, send me a message or an email, and I'll see you next time.